credibility flows from competence. I can't tell you how you should be doing your job if I don't even know how to do my job. It's just not going to be received well, right? It doesn't mean that you're an expert. It just means that you're competent. Be exceptional in key areas, but you have to be reliable everywhere else.
What's up, friends? Welcome to another episode of the Futures Here podcast. Of course, I'm here with Robert Arboides.
Yep.
And we're here to help you with everything you need to know to lead this next generation. Today, well, last week, actually, we talked about what?
Leading up.
Leading up. So this episode, we're going to talk about how to maximize influence. And so they're really connected.
They are connected. Absolutely.
But this one too, if you're a leader, you want to, leadership is influence. You want to, how do you maximize that? If you're leading up and you're in an organization or church and you're not the leader, how do you maximize that influence? And so we're going to be talking about one of the most critical but yet misunderstood aspects of leadership is influence.
Yeah. Well, let's start there. What is it? What is influence?
Yeah. Well, let us know, man.
Well, I think for us, influence is the ability to affect other people's behaviors, opinions, and decisions through, this is important, through your character, your expertise, and your relationships, not through your title, your position, or the power that you have.
Okay, so this is actually really, really important because I don't want to skip over this because a lot of us can be like, yeah, influencers, like, yeah, I know leadership. I'm a leader. Here's when we say this again. We are not talking about your position. It's not your position or your power. We're going to say it again. Character, expertise, and relationships.
Yeah.
Like the more that you grow in those areas, the more your influence will have, right?
Yeah.
Like the more influence you'll have and the more that will affect. And we think in a really good way. The problem in our country right now and a lot of organizations is people go, well, you have the power and the authority that you're in this position, therefore, but we have a whole generation that's like, nah, I don't buy that.
Yeah. Well, we should be clear though. Influence can exist without character, expertise, and relationships.
Absolutely. Oh, we're talking about a kingdom.
Yeah, we were talking about a kingdom value, but let's just talk about that for a second because in the social media world, that term has become synonymous with people who have a lot of followers and people watch their stuff all the time, right? Influencers. But those individuals they might be influencing ideas and things, but they're not necessarily the greatest ideas, right? They might be influencing your own behaviors, and not necessarily the greatest behaviors.
Well, I mean, part of it is like, cool, you figured out the algorithm, but do you actually do this? Like,
yes.
We talked about the other day, well, my daughter who met a leader, right? Yeah. And we're there, we know this, this leader, and she was like, yeah, a really good speaker, but we know this, and we go, but they're actually not a good leader. So they had the skill set of speaking and talking about the information, but we know from experience, like they don't actually lead.
Yeah, and haven't for a while.
For a long time, but their whole deal is speaking about leadership.
Yeah, and they would be considered, influencer type of thing, right? Because they have sold a lot of books or whatever. But again,
that's not
just
what
wanted
we're
to be clear.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is on a daily basis, you're leading a group of people, you're leading an organization. How do you have influence that is biblically sound in a kingdom way?
Yeah.
That's what we want to talk about.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Before we continue, if you like the show and want to continue to support us, the free and simple way to do that is to simply subscribe. And so we'll do our best to continue to create content to help you in your leadership. So influence is not, again, what we're saying, it's not about being the loudest voice in the room or like having the best presentation skills or this one skill set. Okay, so this is not just Robert and Tommy.
Yeah.
So Harvard Business School research says this: 3 core characteristics most influential leaders share. Number 1, they're trusted. That is something you build.
Yeah.
Okay? You build that trust. Second, they're competent. So when you start really pressing or you start digging in, you're like, oh, they really know their stuff. Or they just talk about it, right? And then third, they're genuinely interested in other success.
That's important.
That's the key to this, because if you're just interested in your own success or getting your name out there or becoming famous or what, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You can go do that. And
well, it's interesting because for us, part of our leadership philosophy is that we believe that people are in our care, not in our charge.
yeah.
So this really speaks to that, right? I genuinely have to care about the people I'm leading, and that means I care about their success as well as my own, right? And so it's really important. And then, as you said, trust takes time to build. There has to be consistency in that. And when we're talking about competency, we're not just talking about, being able to do one thing well. We're talking just that there's a general competence about you in that particular area.
Right.
Right. That you understand, like I go back to my corporate days, right? I, led technology groups, building software systems. I could code a little, but like nothing like the people I was leading. However, I understood the concepts.
Yeah.
You couldn't pull the wool over my eyes about something, right?
Yeah.
Because I understood what it was you were talking about. So I understand how it all works. So I had competency in it, but I wasn't the expert in it, right? My team was the expert in it. So you can have competency without having to be the expert or having to sell yourself as the expert. And I think for a lot of leaders, you're too busy trying to sell yourself as the expert in a particular thing rather than just be okay with, hey, I have competency here. I understand the concepts. I understand how things work. But the real experts are the people that I'm leading.
Yeah.
And that's where you, again, goes back to, I'm interested in your success because your success is my success.
Right. And you wrote something on here actually that explain this phrase. It's maximizing your influence is not about getting people to do what you want, which might be confusing to some of you. You're like, no way. It's about getting people to want what you want. Explain that.
Yeah, that's a massive difference for me because I can get you to do what I want by just my authority, right?
Sure.
I can force you to do it. Hey, you work for me, I'm paying you. This is what you need to do.
Yeah.
Right. So my influence, my authority over you, I can get you to do what I want. But even in that, I can't get you to want it. You'll do it, but you won't necessarily want it. So true influence is my ability to say, to be able to get you to want the same things that I want. I want this mission to succeed. I want people to come to Christ. I want to reach more kids. I want to disciple more, right? My ability to get you to want those same things, that for me is real influence.
That's leadership.
That is leadership. Well, because we're saying leadership is influence, but I'm saying there's a massive difference between, I have all these people that are doing everything I want them to do, but yet do they have the same heart?
Right.
Do they have the same desires?
They're not bought in.
They're not bought into the mission. And sometimes as I see leaders that are okay with that because they'll just cycle people in and out.
There's a whole system of that's the system we're trying to change. Actually,
yes, absolutely.
So there are we want to share with you 6 strategies around how to maximize your influence.
Yeah.
Number 1, we need to master the art of strategic listening. So most, leaders think about influence starts with talking, but it actually starts with listening to your people. So when people feel genuinely listened to, there's this thing that happens. Their brains actually release oxytocin, right? Mm-hmm. And which is the same hormone involved in bonding and trust. So there's an actual science behind this. Like when people feel listened to, this is how you actually build trust. And so that chemical reaction is actually happening, and that bond is happening, and that's really a key for influence, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't start with talking; it starts with listening.
Yeah. So I think, as you said, listening builds trust neurologically, but there's really 3 areas that we want to listen for. One is we want to listen for content. Hey, what are they saying? All right, deeply. And when I say listen, I'm not just saying hearing what they're saying, but deeply listening for what they're saying. Second is, what's the emotion that's coming through? How do they feel about what they're saying? What are they trying to communicate through their emotion? And then also digging deeper behind those, what's their intention? And I know sometimes that can be risky. Yeah, that can be risky. We can, sometimes mislabel people's intention, but really trying to understand what is it that they really want or need, right? So when if you can master those 3 levels of listening, what's the content, what's the emotion, what's the intention, you're going to be able to better respond and then have influence in that conversation because you have built trust with that individual because they're like, oh, they're actually listening to me.
Yeah.
I just had a coaching call yesterday with a leader, and they were saying, they were basically saying, this is what I think you think of me. And I was saying, well, no, let me tell you what I think is really happening. And I started telling them what I was really believing about them. And I think they were a little shocked that I had listened that deeply. Yeah. That I really understood them that deeply. They're like, oh, I didn't think that was the case. I thought you just saw me this way. I'm like, no, because I'm listening, I'm hearing you.
This happens to me a lot because I'll bring up something that someone told me months and months ago or years ago. I go, yeah, but because remember that happened and you said that's how you felt about it. And they're always like, yeah, did you remember that? I'm like, yeah. Because I listened to you, So super important. So some quick practices for you in this. One, reflective listening. Here's what I hear you saying. Let me make sure I understand. And you say it back to them. Second, remove distractions. Don't even put your phone on the table. This is a real practical phrase. Put it in your pocket. Put it on, or if you know your wife's going to call your spouse or you're waiting for your kid to call you or whatever, just be like, hey, I just want to let you know as we have this conversation, this might happen. But for the most part, no. Set time aside and just be there with someone. Next, listen for solutions, not just problems.
Yeah, huge.
And then lastly, ask powerful follow-up questions, like what's most important to you. So when you get to the intention piece, what they want and need, the differences between that and what they're really saying, that's where all this comes in. You ask questions. Yeah. And draw that out and then listen to what they say. So really
one of the things I love asking is after a conversation like that, it's like, hey, what do you hope happens as a result of this? Yeah. And people are usually, what's interesting is they're not usually prepared to answer that question, but they'll pause and start to think. And then realize like, wow, that's a really good question. I hadn't really thought about that, right? And so again, remember, this is about influence. So listening to somebody deeply and having them feel like they were heard is the first step in building influence with somebody.
I love it. Number 2, we would say keep it 100.
Keep it 100, man. Influence requires integrity. You have to be consistent and doing what you're doing what you're going to say you're going to do, even when nobody's watching. Because when you're authentic, when you're 100, that builds trust. And we always say, right, that like game recognizes game, right? People know when you're authentic. Yeah. They know when you're authentic, when you're not. And so
you could be a sociopath and be so good at faking it. Well, like there's that, sure. But that's a really small percentage of the population. You need help. But
yeah. So there's some core behaviors that we need to understand about what it means to really have integrity or keep it 100. One is that your private standards have to match your public standards. Yeah. Like don't be out there talking about, oh, we subscribe to these values, but then you don't live them out. Yeah. Personally or organizationally, right? Also, own your mistakes completely. I don't tell me this is something that you do really, really well, and share your wins generously. That's also something that you do really, really well. And I think that when you do that, again, as a leader, you're going to build trust because people are like, oh, they're willing to admit when they're wrong and they're willing to give me credit. Do you know how many times people don't experience this from their leaders?
I know.
It happens so much. It grieves us to hear those stories. Also, tell the truth as a leader. You have to tell the truth even when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. And all this is really good. When we talk about keep it 100, we mean like that, and Robert said it, being consistent with who you are. And here's the grace piece. You're continuing to heal and evolve. We want you to continue to become who you're created to be. You're not fully formed. So it's okay. That's where it comes, where he goes, hey, I messed up. Just own it. And then here's what I'm going to do about it. And so you're continually like growing, like become that person, but having that consistency. And I'll address something that I see a lot. We're used to, whether you're just surviving or you have character flaws, we're used to lying. Whether they're white lies or whether you're hedging the truth or whether you're omitting something, like, so, and I catch people in this all the time, like, oh no, you said you were going to do this, and then there's a whole bunch of excuses. And, no, just, okay, okay, yeah, man, I did it wrong. Okay, let's learn from that. Let's choose to do something different in the future, right? So when I even do this, man, with humor, right? I use humor a lot. If I make fun of somebody and they're not there, I actually make sure I go tell them that I made fun of them and this is what I said. The reason I do stuff like that is because I don't want to manage lies on relationships. Like I don't want to be like, don't tell them that. That's an energy drain. I just want to be 100 all the time. Right?
Yeah.
And so with that, there's, day-to-day examples of this, like admit when you don't know. That's actually that draws people in. Own failures and explain how you fix them. Give credit to your team, right? So here's how we do in leadership. If I have an idea and the team goes, yeah, we should do that, and it wins, it's the team's win.
Yeah.
If I have an idea or if somebody else on the team has an idea and we go with that and it fails, I own that failure. What that does is it creates an environment where people are okay to fail and we take risks. And that's what we want here. Yeah. And so that's what that kind of looks like. And then deliver hard news clearly with a plan forward.
I mean, we've had to do that recently.
Gosh. I might have to do that tomorrow. But yeah, you just keep it 100. Don't try to manage, just be clear about it. I think that one, the payoff for all this is massive because then not only does your team trust you, the outside world starts to trust you. I think there is for both Robert and I think there is an understanding out there. And if this is not true, hit me up with this. I'll receive it. In the outside world of this place, people go, we can trust those guys. Those guys will tell me the hard truth. They'll be honest with me. You might not agree with it and I might be wrong. But I'm doing it out of love and that I'm going to be honest and keep it 100.
Yeah. Third thing, strategy, man, what we call this is handle your business well. In other words, perform your role with excellence, right? Yeah. You're not going to be able to influence others. Dude, if you're terrible at your job as a leader.
Because people talk about it.
People know. Behind your back, in the cafe, whatever, right? Outside of work, they're going to talk about how terrible you are at your job. And that is really hard to influence, right? Because credibility, I can't even say that. Credibility flows from competence. Yeah, I can't tell you how you should be doing your job if I don't even know how to do my job. It's just not going to be received well, right? So, and that doesn't mean, again, we talked about earlier, it doesn't mean that you're an expert. It just means that you're competent. Be exceptional in key areas, but you have to be reliable everywhere else, right? So many times, here's what I don't like to hear from leaders. Oh, well, I'm just not good at that. Okay, but can you be reliable in that?
Can you work on it? Can you mitigate some weakness?
Can you try at least? Like, don't just give. I'm like, no, that's terrible. I just don't do that, right? Like, oh yeah, I never do that. I never do my own spreadsheets, or I never do whatever. Like, okay. Great. But don't wear that as a badge of honor. You know what I mean? Like, be reliable at least where you can be. Now, there's 4 ways that we think you can deliver excellence. Okay. First, know what it looks like in your role. Just again, what are the 3 to 5 core things that you are responsible for? And what does excellence look like in that? The second thing is build systems for consistency. Like, the number of people that still don't use a calendar, Tommy.
Oh my gosh. Please.
That I'm like, oh, we had a meeting. Oh, I was supposed to call you? Like, dude, write it down in your calendar. It's not that hard.
If you're a young leader, too, by the way, in this, please listen to this. You might be building your competencies right now, but here's the things you can do. You can show up on time. You can do what you say you're going to do, right?
Yeah.
And you can be consistent with that. Like, you do that, you'll start to build this.
Absolutely. And the third thing is solve problems instead of creating them. So again, don't just be that person that just comes and creates more problems, right? One of the things, this has been a conversation lately with some people, even some of the people I'm coaching, right? Is I tell them, I go, you need to understand the difference between complexity and complicated. Complex and complicated are not the same thing. An idea or a process or system can be complex, but it can be simple to use, right? Complex on the back end, simple on the front end. Complexity is where it's just confusing all around.
Complicated.
Sorry. Yeah. Complicated is where it's just confusing all around.
Yeah.
It's like complicated for the user to use. It's complicated for you in the back end. Like it's just complicated all around. So we need to be able to solve problems in a way that adds that is okay if we add complexity, but that it's not being complicated and we're not creating more problems as a result of that. And then this was always something, Tommy, that I have lived by my entire professional career. Deliver more value than expected.
Yeah.
Don't just check the box, but go above and beyond. The more you do that, the more people will, I think, respect you. And again, it doesn't mean you have to go, like, I might be extreme in this, but still, like, just go beyond, right?
Yeah.
Don't just, because chances are that if I, as a leader, gave you a task or I was given a task, chances are that was not really clear what the person was looking for. And so if I just deliver that, they're gonna be like, oh, yeah, that's good, I guess. But then I have to do more work to really get it to where I wanted it, right? So
that's a double-sided strategy right there, which is smart. I think it's.
But I think when you handle your business well, people start just thinking about you differently. Let's just be honest, right? They stop seeing you as somebody who's just, oh, well, this is your job, but they see you as somebody who actually gets things done and adds value.
This is how you rise above the crowd. And these are simple things that every single person can do. And this is what we're looking for. So pay attention. Yep. Number 4, build your relational capital. Okay. So if you invest in relationships, again, if you're consistent and have integrity, you show up when you say you're going to show up, you don't flake out. You're responsible. We talk a lot about be relational with your responsibilities and be responsible with your relationships. Like we talk about when you come to join UIWI, this is how I would explain, like, hey, here's what I want you to handle, I want you to handle this. And so with that kind of building relational capital, it's not about schmoozing, gassing people up. Like we all get that and we don't like it. There's a culture here that's like, we don't accept that.
Do that.
But it's about genuinely investing in others, their success, their well-being, who they are as a person. Couple practices for you: invest deep with a few and genuinely with many. Like I can't give myself to everybody all the time. Like in fact, I have to protect that a lot. I got 5 kids. I'm married. I'm in this certain season of life. As I come out of that season, I'll be able to give a whole lot more. Like you're really in that season. Yeah. You give a lot to a lot of people. But genuinely with many, if I'm here with you, I'm here with you. Like it might be a few moments, but I'm here, So that's one way. Second, invest consistently, not just when you need help. This is a big one.
Yeah.
Like when the Holy Spirit puts someone on your mind, reach out to them, not just when, I need you to do something for me. Invest that way.
I always get those texts of like, hey man, I'm thinking about you. Hope everything's well. Praying for you. Hey, are you available to come help me?
Yeah. You're like, oh, that's what that was about.
Okay. I see the real.
Third, care about the whole person, not just their role. They're not just a pawn to be used to help you get done what you need to get done. Remember, our job as leaders is to help people become who they are created to be. Think about them first in the vehicle that you're doing. So you might need them to come help you. That's a reality. How does it help them? Have you thought through that? And can you offer that to them? If not, don't ask them. That's how I roll. And actually, I know people get kind of butthurt about that. Sometimes they're like, they're so used to being used that way. If I'm not using you that way, then something must be wrong. And I'm like, no, I watch you. I follow you. I know your life. I don't want to put more on you. That's why I'm not calling you.
That's good.
And that gets missed, right? Celebrate publicly, correct privately. We had a whole podcast to talk about that. Man, give people ups that are genuine.
Yes.
That are real. If somebody's like mediocre, don't gas them up like they're the next greatest thing ever. Like, love them better than that. Lastly, don't gatekeep. Like, be generous with connections. I did this yesterday. I hooked up. We're struggling we need more investment, right? And while we need more investment, I called one of our donors and said, hey, could you support this person? They could really use it. Yeah, because I don't come from a scarcity mindset. I'm like, it's all the Lord's anyway. So I constantly hook people up, elevate them. But you know who we elevate? Do you know who I elevate, Robert? People who do this. People who show up, they're consistent. Because I don't want to look like a buster when I go, oh, you should invest in this leader, and then that leader screws it up or doesn't come through. Then I look like a buster. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. So if you're mad that I haven't put you on, ask me I'll tell you.
Think about why.
Yeah, there's a reason why. So you can ask. What's number 5?
So 5 is just read the room. So again, we keep harping on this emotional intelligence, right? Lead with emotional intelligence. It's where good leaders become great leaders, because leaders with high influence are actually emotional thermostats, not thermometers. So I don't just come into a room and sense the room, but I actually can come into a room and change the atmosphere of the room. Hopefully for the positive, not necessarily negative, but it's true that you can also change it for the negative, right? So they actively work to create the right emotional climate for success. When you can come into a room or a meeting or even a one-on-one conversation, and just your presence immediately creates the sense of safety. Your spirit,
energy,
sense of peace, right? My wife and I love to use our home just to host people and love people well and everything. And this is probably one of the most overwhelming comments we get is like, wow, your home is so peaceful. And that's what we try to create. This is a peaceful home where people can come and heal, where there can be joy, all of these things, right? That's good. Leaders that can be thermostats, not thermometers, are the ones who are going to be trusted and have greater influence. So here's some of the things that you can do to better read the room. First, again, notice nonverbal clues. Whenever I walk into the room, I pay attention, like where are people sitting? How are they? What's their posture? What's the look on their face, right? As they're in, do they look worried? Do they look stressed? Do they look just busy? Do they look relaxed? All of those things, that will tell you a lot about what the room is like. And especially if you're going to speak to a room, that's really, really important. Second, as the conversation progresses, listen for what's not being said. So a lot of times people are, again, they're unsure about you, especially if it's a new space. They don't really know you. They don't know, your leadership. They don't really know what you're going to think of them. And so it's hard for them. My wife and I, as we lead these marriage conversations, this is one of the things we experience a lot, is that they'll say things, I'll ask for comments or questions, and they'll ask questions about the simple stuff.
Yes.
And then I'll go like, now let me ask a deeper question here. And that's when things really open up, right?
That's good.
Third thing is adjust your communication style to match your audience. Look, it depends on who you're with, right? Like it is kind of code switching in a way.
It is, yeah, right? Absolutely.
I was with a leader who's very analytical, technical, and so my conversation is going to be very much like that, right? If I'm with people who are not that at all, maybe they need much more of a shepherding voice
or a story
I'm going to go with that, right? Some people need vision and inspiration. Some want to talk through decisions. Others just want to process it privately. Again, I have to be able to read all of that.
So a lot of it, in this one, I do this a lot, like pretty constantly and consistently. I think about who is this person, and I'm making judgments.
Yeah.
If I don't know them, I'm trying to piece it together because I'm curious about them. What's their political affiliation? What do they really think about this? Like, what's their ethnicity? Where are they coming from culturally? Like, what kind of church do I think they go? Like, I'm listening for all that, right? You say certain phrases, I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, cool. If I want to influence them, I actually want them to listen to me. And we start out with what? We listen to them when we're listening for what's not said. So I'm gathering all this information, and so that I can manipulate them. You could use it that way. But I'm going, man, God, what is God up to? How do I speak back into this? And how do I speak in a way that they can hear me and listen, right? So that we can figure this out together. It's a big
No, that's good. And then the fourth thing in terms of how to read a room is, and this is so important. Manage your emotional state first before you walk into the room. I just recently, I shared this with you, Tommy, earlier or yesterday, that I was going to a gathering and I wasn't feeling quite right about it. I was anxious. I was tense. And my wife actually sat me down and she noticed it. She read the room and she's like, oh, I need to pray for him. And I sat down next to her and she put her hand on me and just prayed for me before I went into this gathering. And I'm telling you, it changed my whole emotional state. and I was able to go in there and receive it in a very different way than if I had just walked in there tense. I think I would have misread the room. I would have misread a lot of things that were being said. But because I was in this better emotional state, I was able to read it better.
That's good, man.
And then the last thing is create, again, psychological safety. Again, we talked about this, inviting safety, welcome dissent, right? Allow people to speak their mind and not hold them accountable in a negative way for that, but just receive it, try to listen to what's really being said. So notice nonverbal cues, listen for what's not being said, adjust your communication style to match your audience, manage your emotional state first, and then create psychological safety.
Lastly, we just want to level up, right? You want to maximize your influence, you need to level up. This is what we mean, is that you need to keep learning.
Yes.
There needs to be a continued, I think some of the most dangerous people are the people that think they know everything. Like when you don't have that humility or that posture to be like, oh, I'm really curious about why do you think that way? Or tell me more about that. Or once you're like, nope, I'm the expert in the room and no one can teach me anything. One, that's like unbiblical. That's not the posture we want to have. And because if you're going to engage in the margins, I fully engage thinking God's up to something. If I'm engaging with someone who's in a gang or someone who's on the street, I have to be open. God could want to teach me something through and in this person. Right? I get to join in on this dynamic rather than static. So that's really, you got to keep learning. So leaders who stop learning lose influence. Like and if you hold on to old paradigms and you don't want to, you just become.
You want what was.
Yeah. You go from being a machine to a museum. Like you just don't, okay, cool, boomer. It's that whole thing. Now it's Gen X, which I'm offended by. But it's that whole thing, right? And then growth expands that perspective, relevance, and value. And so some practices. Stay curious, follow other leaders, ask questions. I have a hard time with some of this. Like I'm in leadership development. And so there are people out there, like they read all the leadership books. I'm a little bit more contrarian than that. I'm actually more interested in an actual leader. So I would learn much more from Rob than I have from Jim Collins. Because I go, yeah, I read the books. Like,
yeah, there's good
but
principles.
I don't know Jim. I don't know how he leads I don't know what his employees actually think, but I know Robert and I know these other leaders. So I ask a lot of questions. I learn from that way. Learn from every experience, right? I love you put in here, like not just postmortems.
Yeah.
Like wisdom is learning from other people's mistakes too. Like
absolutely.
I want to learn. So I'm constantly asking questions like that. Send feedback regularly. Like seek feedback regularly. I'm always asking. I ask my kids, how can I be a better dad?
That's good. Yeah.
Hey,
dangerous, but good.
Oh, it's you got to be ready for those answers. And depending on how honest your kids are, it's a good barometer to go, have I created a safe place, that safe psychological place?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's
you have to be honest about seeking feedback. Like you have to, you don't just
do you really want it or are you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Hey, tell me what you really think of my leadership. And then, like, the whole time they're telling you, you're just like not paying attention. And
I'll do this with leaders where I go, hey, do you really want to know what I think?
Yeah.
And they'll be like,
I had that situation recently.
Yeah. What happened?
I had a leader basically say, I don't understand why this is happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I know why it's happening. And they're like, well, tell me. And I go, do you really want to know?
Yeah.
Do you really want me to tell you? They're like, yeah. And then I did. I told them.
Yeah.
And they were hurt by it.
Yeah.
They were hurt by it. But, again, I'm like, I won't tell you if you don't want to know. If you really want to know, I'll do it. So they were able to receive it, though. Ultimately, they were able to receive that and move forward. But initially, it still was hurtful for them. And that may be the case.
Yeah.
It may be hurtful to hear that feedback. But ultimately, it's going to make you such a better leader.
And that's where we talk about leveling up. You want to challenge yourself regularly. Before my mom passed, she had, at her memorial, I gave this whole speech about her. She had a phrase she just said, be better. What she would do is like, as I was struggling with stuff and I'm giving like excuses why I didn't this, all that, she just would look at me and she'd just say, hey, then be better. Like choose to learn from it. Work on it, be better. Like, don't just sit and like, I'm good enough. you can work, right? And obviously there's a growth trajectory that I can do nothing apart from Christ. Like he has to, like there's all of that. But there's a movement to, I want to level up, I want to be better, and I believe I can be with the help of the Holy Spirit, God's word, the church, other leaders. So part of that too is like, find a mentor, be a mentor, right? Be disciple. Discipling others and mentoring can really help if you're open to this kind of posture, because you can continue to confront yourself and confront your own hypocrisy. So people follow leaders who are going somewhere interesting.
Or becoming someone more interesting.
Becoming some, like I know one of our mentors and friends, like later in life, they're going to counseling, they're doing spiritual direction. And it's like later in life, and I asked, why are you doing that? And they said, I want to end well. He said, I've been telling people for years and years, hey, we got to end well, we got to finish well. And then he realized, like, man, am I doing that? Mm-hmm. And then said, well, what does that mean to end well? And he's like, he watched other people get older, and he said they either get bitter or they get better. Mm. And that's so, cool. and did that. And I appreciate that. And I go, I respect that.
I think if you're that kind of leader that's always learning and evolving, people are going to want to come along for the journey.
Yeah.
They're going to be interested in what you have to say.
Absolutely. Sure. So, final thoughts. We hope that's been good for you guys. There's 6 strategies there. That's how you can maximize your influence. I think whether you're a seasoned leader or you're just starting out and you're a young leader coming up, this is for you. We believe in you. We think that you can become what God has created you to be. We're here to help that journey. So, if you can, join us on the next Futures Here podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it, right? And if you want more, if you're like, man, I love what these guys are teaching, did you know that we have certification cohorts that you can join in on right now? Go to the website, uywi.org, check it out, sign up for the next one, and we'd love to journey with you in a really deep way. Join our community, these cohorts, and become the leader that God created you to be. We'll see you guys next time on the Futures Here podcast.
Peace.